The photograph you can see here is the photograph organized by Mata Vibhudanandapuri, who is the Vedanta Guru of the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism, also lovingly called as Mataji Pamma. You can see there is a conch, a kamandalu to the left of the Supreme Pandava of Hinduism, as well as a wooden staff to his right, all of which were given by Mata Vibhudanandapuri as the traditional items that are handed over, along with the official induction as the successor into the lineage. With Vedanta Guru Mata Vibhudanandapuri, during the initiation, the traditional items were handed over from Guru to disciple as part of the coronation. The staff that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is holding is one of the items which is given to aid in the spiritual wandering lifestyle used for various purposes. We are now looking at the early days of the mission of the establishments of Kailasa. And we can see here in the leftmost, we have a black and white photo where when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was very young, the temple monastery complex of his guru, Mataji Vibhudanandapuri, was built by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself, brick by brick in Tiruvannamalai. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had his gurus to guide him and he followed. In the year 2001, on April 14th, at the age of 23, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism established the first Kailasa temple monastery in Tiruchengodu, South India. In this photo, you can also see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's own handwritten annotation on the photograph. In the year 2002, on the 4th of November, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism established the headquarters, Adi Kailasa Sarvanyapeetham, in South India. By the year 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, at the age 26, started conducting mass living enlightenment initiation conventions, taking people through powerful cleansing processes of the 7 energy centers in our body. In the year 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was welcomed and given the proclamation message by the mayor of St. Louis, United States. Here we can see from the year 2005 and 2010 glimpses of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism conducting the mass living enlightenment initiations in India as well as all over the globe as well, in different parts of the United States and in other various parts of the world. We have here photos of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism giving the discourse on stress to de-stress in Oklahoma Medical Baptist Center in the United States, as well as conventions in various parts of India. Here we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism giving the mass living enlightenment initiations to thousands and thousands of people in the 2015 Nasik Kumbh Mela, as well as the 2016 Ujjain Kumbh Mela, both attended by thousands and thousands of people. Next, we're going to be looking at the various coronations being done on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, being coronated as the head of various different kingdoms and Madhadipatis. Here we have the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being ordained as the 233rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Kanchi Kailasa Sarvanyapeetham, which is the Tondai Mandaladinam. Next, we have the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the incumbent emperor of Suryavamshi Surangi Samrajya. Following that, we can see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as the present 23rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swargapuram. In the year 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the present 293rd Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam Kailasonati Shamlapita Sarvanyapita. In the same year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also coronated as the Mahamandaleshwar of the Mahanirvani Akhada, which is the largest apex monastic order of Hinduism. In the following years, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 1008th Acharya Mahamandaleshwar, which is the head of all spiritual leaders of the Atal Akada, which is the ancient apex body of Hinduism, and was also elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 Hindu leaders, pontiffs. The sovereign state of Sri Kailasa is a macrocosmic, ancient, Hindu enlightened civilizational nation whose vision is living enlightenment for all of humanity. Kailasa's mission is to revive and share with today's world the practical applications of the greater sciences of authentic Hinduism, including Hindu cosmic physics, Hindu alchemy, Hindu cosmology, Hindu biology, Hindu mathematics, the power manifestation science, and other sciences as revived by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. These sciences were once practiced freely in over 56 different nations across the continent, but are now facing an extinction due to persecution happening over a millennium. We're now going to be looking at the 108 different Sri Kailasa's United Nations initiatives. These initiatives include Sri Kailasa United Nations for Globalization, Against Medical Malpractice, Enlightened Birthing and Pregnancy, and like this 100 different initiations founded and initiated by Sri Kailasa's United Nations. Sri Kailasa United Nations are 108 different initiatives to support a variety of humanitarian services, which collectively allows for the creation of an enlightened, peaceful, sustainable, equitable, resilient, and thriving world. One of the many projects by Sri Kailasa United Nations is the No Hungry Home project offered by Sri Kailasa United Nations for nutritious food and a hunger-free world. Over the past 27 years, 1 billion meals have been served as Annadan by the Hindu ASMT communities in religious gatherings to everyone without discrimination. 10,000 meals are served on a daily basis, free of cost, and up to 100,000 meals are being served on festival days. And as you can see here, multiple photos of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself serving and doing the Annadan service. During the pandemic, which had lasted over the past 2 years and is still going on, Kailasa's protective and preventive COVID care centers were offered by Sri Kailasa United Nations for affordable and holistic healthcare. During the pandemic, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism converted his monastery campuses into a multi-layer quarantine facility free for all people, regardless of any differences in age, gender, caste, creed, ethnicity, color, social economic status, and so on. Food, shelter, internet, and all the basic facilities, including free medical care, were provided for all people who had come for an indefinite amount of time. More than 30 million citizens followed Kailasa's 28-day spiritual regimen in the year 2020. The next project, which we are seeing by Sri Kailasa United Nations, is for education reform and development. The Nithyananda Hindu University is the largest Hindu university in the world established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The Nithyananda Gurukul, inaugurated on the 2nd of October in the year 2006 by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is for the revival of the ancient Adi Shaivite Guru-disciple education system, which is an authentic knowledge transmission system based on enlightenment. In the Nithyananda Hindu University, more than 20 million enrollments have happened, and the Nithyananda Hindu University offers 7,000 free courses as well as has extended campuses in more than 150 countries. The next project is the Nithyananda Jnanalaya project and Hinduismpedia, offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for the protection of Hindu scriptures. The Nithyananda Hindu Jnanalaya project was established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to collect and to preserve the 1 million Hindu scriptures while ensuring that knowledge is made accessible and shared free of cost to all. Collecting and preserving the 1 million source books on Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself has authored more than 10,000 books in 3 different languages, and they have been translated into 50 other languages. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also published more than 10,000 articles and has given 10,000 hours of free discourses with over 1 billion views. Kailasa's Hinduismpedia is a project established by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has collected more than 15 terabytes of digital books and rare manuscripts from all the 19 Sarvanya Peetams, ancient mutts, and ashrams. 1 million pages on Hinduism, the collection of 22,000 digital books, 1,000 e-text books, and over 100,000 articles on various topics in Hinduism. Here we can see the confluences for world peace offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for global peace and religious harmony. In the year 2009, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism organized a month-long peace walk covering 1,000 kilometers and 1,000 villages to bring together in harmony from all walks of life to promote feeling connection and oneness among people. During the walk, health camps were conducted in villages along its path. Here, we are going to be looking at Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for feminine empowerment and gender equality. Kailasa's Yogini Sarvanya Peeta was established for yoga and meditation universities to empower the quality of life and emphasis on life solutions through Vedas and Agamas, empowering the indigenous rural women, fighting against harmful gender stereotyping, gender-based violence, and lack of inclusive and quality learning environments. Some of the initiatives include the Kailasa's Nithyananda Lakshmi project, which is a microfinancing service, Kailasa's Women Foundation and Women Empowerment Self-Help Centers, which have been launched in 108 places around the world since the year 2009. Kailasa's Ankita program, which is providing foundational literacy about working of basic community service and infrastructure establishments. Kailasa's Ashriya program, which is providing vocational training programs to rural and indigenous women to provide equal opportunities and access to independent, self-sufficient financial environments for them. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived the Vedic feminism in Kailasa, where more than 80% of the leadership positions are occupied by women. The next project which we are looking at is the Nithyananda Yoga offered by Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for yoga. The Nithyananda Kriyas are 108 different Kriyas targeting the major disorders of diseases such as diabetes, arthritis, and blood pressure, given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and have been verified scientifically. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has also revived the ancient pole yoga, Shivastambha yoga, and rope yoga, Kundalini Rajya yoga, in which yogic asanas, postures, and weight balancing techniques are performed to create yogic physiology, aligning it to the cosmic geometry that manifests superconscious powers. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also awarded two Guinness World Records for the largest group yoga and largest pole yoga classes, bringing worldwide attention to these extraordinary forms of yoga. These Guinness World Records were established on the 30th of September and the 3rd of October, respectively. Despite being heavily persecuted continuously for over a decade, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is unwavered in his intention, in his commitment, and action in building the only Hindu nation, the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, to protect, revive, and preserve Hinduism, the most ancient, most peaceful, still living, and long lasting demonstrable system that shows the possibility of existence amongst people. Now, we're going to be looking at one of the most historic moments in the history of the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, where Kailasa, the first nation of Hindus, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, spoke on behalf of the 2 billion global Hindu diaspora at the 14th session of the United Nations Forum on Minority Issues. A significant milestone in the history of Hindus and sovereign state of Sri Kailasa happened on the December 2nd, 2021, where His Excellency Sri Nityamoksha Priyananda, Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary of Kailasa, represented the persecution of Hindus at the 14th session of the United Nations Forum on Minority Issues. The theme of the forum was conflict prevention and the protection of human rights of minorities. This was the first time the plight of persecuted Hindu minorities was represented in the United Nations. The organized, ongoing, and systematic generational attacks on Hindu indigenous traditions were highlighted in this meeting. Now we are looking at the torture and murder attempts by state and non-state actors on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, where over 70 assassination attempts and physical attacks had happened on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in India as well as in abroad. 40 attacks on community members, destruction of monasteries and temples, over 60 incidents of attacks, molestation, and rape of women and women monks. Intense lawfare via over 100 false legal cases, intersectional persecution using the entire government mechanism, including the politically owned media, police, judiciary controlled by politicians, as well as inciting mob violence through the social media. Despite all these attacks and illegal persecution happening on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, his unwavering intention, has built the Kailasa nation for the purpose of giving the superconscious breakthrough to the whole of humanity and to revive and protect Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Now that we have seen the introduction of who is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, in the next segment, we're going to be looking at one of the most important and one of the most extraordinary contributions to humanity Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given, which is a science of the power manifestation. We're going to be learning about the Shastra Pramana of the science of power manifestation, exactly what is the power manifestation and what is the science behind the power manifestation, as well as the live demonstration of these powers with the blessings and grace of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We'll be back after a short break.
A more intelligently connected world leads to a brighter future. An enlightened humanity leads to a better world. During the Paramashivam program, we help people to discover their superhuman possibilities and help them to find and achieve the true purpose of their birth by giving them the techniques, practices, and methodologies from the Vedagamas, the original source scriptures of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the ancient original Vedas and Agamas in all its glory, in a user-friendly way for the modern mind. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is transforming human beings into divine beings, reviving, initiating, and and replicating the 463 powers from the Agamas revealed by Paramashiva. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is not just giving solutions for every problem man faces, but is making them irrelevant to their lives by transforming human beings into divine beings.
Listen. Any argument presented by your mind, body, your present reality to establish you are not Paramashiva, you are not omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Anything presented to prove you are not Paramashiva is illegitimate. Decide this. This is super determinism. Understand? Anything you declare as illegitimate will lose power over you, will die in few days, few minutes, maybe in few weeks, whatever few days it takes. It will not have power over you. Understand, this is the method for sudden enlightenment. This is the method for sudden enlightenment. It happens by the Shaktipada. Here Paramashiva is sitting to tell you all, you are Paramashiva, you are me, with Shaktipada and Shaktinipada.
The Dvitiya Vijnasa Krama is an extensive and thorough yoga sequence to prepare your body to receive the experience being given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Through the yoga, which is aligned as per the source scriptures laid down by Paramashiva and the Agamas, you break all the impossibility in your body and in turn break the very cognition of impossibility. The program leads you to go beyond your human frame and limiting human ideas, which prevents you from living your highest possibility.
I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment.
Again I tell you, I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God.
Don't wait to become divine. Register now at paramashivoham.org.
Nithyanandam, I welcome all the viewers watching us live on all our social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to this powerful and beautiful session on power manifestation. Today, we're going to see the science of power manifestation. We're going to understand various aspects of power manifestation. We're going to see what is the difference between Shaktis and Siddhis. And ultimately, we are going to have a live demonstration of these extraordinary powers of Paramashiva. So first, we'll see what is the science of manifesting Shaktis. In the Vedagamas, which are the source scriptures of Hinduism, Paramashiva reveals in elaborate detail that every human being is hardwired to be able to manifest the 463 extraordinary Shaktis of Paramashiva. Manifesting powers are described in a systematic method and science for human beings to explore the various possibilities and powers and have access to various states of consciousness. Shaktis manifest from the fundamental cognition that you are divine. You need to manifest the divine, and you are not a man, and you need to reach divinity. So now we'll be seeing the difference between Shaktis and Siddhis. Shaktis express from the space of enlightenment as a side effect of feeling connection with the divine and the highest integrity with the Guru. Whereas siddhis are powers that manifest from tapas, which is penance, for enlightenment. When you strive to enlightenment, all the tapas that you do, what manifests at that time, the small powers that you get at that time is siddhis. Shaktis are the source of enlightenment. And as we said, Shaktis are it manifests from the state of enlightenment, whereas Siddhis manifest on the path of enlightenment. And Shaktis manifest from the space of Paramashiva, and they manifest when you are in the space of Paramashivoham, and they manifest through anybody once they are initiated by the Guru. That's the most important thing. After the initiation of a Guru, any human being can manifest the Shaktis, but Siddhis do not happen to everyone, and it happens only as a side effect. And Shaktis are permanent. Once you are initiated by the Guru, you manifest Shaktis, whereas Siddhis are not permanent and distract you from the path of enlightenment. Now we are going to see the modes of the various type of testing and foolproofing process that our ancient rishis have given to us. So there are 4 ways that these powers are tested in Sanatana Dharma. First is the Shastra Pramana, which is the scriptural reference for these powers, the direct revelation of the words of Paramashiva. Example, the Vedas and the Agamas and everything that is being revealed by Paramashiva directly is the Shastra Pramana. The Artha Pramana is the time-tested, foolproof experiences of the ancient rishis and the recent masters who have come before us and proven to the world the scientificness and the powers, how they can be helpful and useful to humanity. The Atma Pramana, which is the experiences, the validated experiences of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. After he experienced anything, he made sure that it is in alignment with the Vedas and Agamas, which are the Shastra Pramana, and the Apta Pramana, the experiences of other rishis and masters. And once it is acid washed through both of these, he gives it to us as his Atma Pramana. Then we have the Pratyaksha Pramana, which is the scientific study on these powers, what science is able to understand while these powers manifest. Now we are seeing the source. Who is the source? From where do these Shaktis manifest? The answer is Paramashiva. Paramashiva is the primordial divinity in Hinduism, the ultimate reality and the cause, which is the self, effulgent, Swayam Prakasha, all pervading and untouched by time and space. And from this Paramashiva only, this whole universe is manifested, and we manifest from the space of Paramashiva. Now we're going to see the ultimate truth of the Shaktis, how they really manifest. First, the Jnana, which is the powerful cognitions, is mapped, is given to the consciousness, to our consciousness. When we understand them, it becomes part of our consciousness and they manifest as prajnana in every being. Now we're going to be seeing the pramanas for each of these powers, pramanas for the power of the third eye. The third eye is the intra organ which has been given to us given to all the humans and can be awakened and initiated by an enlightened master or an incarnation. And as we have the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is the direct Nijavatara, the direct form of Paramashiva, through his initiation, we are able to awaken the third eye. So the Shastra Pramana, the scriptural reference for the power of third eye, is from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, which is a direct scripture, a scripture which has been directly revealed by Paramashiva to Paramashiva Shakti. And the verse is from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 34. The verse goes, Kapalantar manonyasa tishtan milita lochanaha kramena manaso dadyat lakshayet lakshyamuttamam. The translation is, having fixed the mind on the inner space within the crown center, one should slowly stabilize the mind and without any movement, having the eyes in succession into the third eye. By that stability of the mind and the consciousness, one starts seeing beyond the physical eyesight and is able to see the ultimate goal, Lakshyam, and becomes the space of Paramashiva and complete oneness. So this is the Shastra Pramana for the power of third eye reading. Now we'll be seeing the Apta Pramana, the history, and the ancient masters have shown us this power. In the Bhagavad Gita, which is from the Mahabharata, in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is asked by Arjuna to show his cosmic form, to show his Vishwarupa Darshana. And Arjuna asks Krishna that he wants to see the cosmic form, the Vishwarupa Darshana. And Krishna says to Arjuna, but you cannot see my cosmic form with these physical eyes of yours. So I grant you the divine vision of the third eye, and with that vision, behold my cosmic form, my cosmic opulence. So this verse is the 8th verse of the 11th chapter. And after this initiation to Arjuna, he is able to see the cosmic form of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And in the whole 11th chapter, Arjuna recites in a beautiful tone the various glories of the cosmic form that he is able to see. So this is the beautiful Apta Pramana from the history and the life of the ancient masters. Next we have the Atma Pramana, what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism experienced in his own life. Swamiji says in his own words, the first experience that I was able to see everything around me, above me, the whole 360-degree vision, 10 directions and below me, everything, I realized that I was not only able to see, I was able to feel, experience all that around me. So the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was able to feel that cosmic form around him, as we saw in the Shastra Pramana. He was able to see beyond the physical eyes and had the vision of the Lakshyam, the ultimate goal, and felt the oneness with everything around him. Next, we'll see the Pratyaksha Pramana for the power of third eye reading. The Pratyaksha Pramana comes from the direct life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and they had done a PET scan on the brain of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We can see the picture. There we can see the picture where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism itself is undergoing the test. And when they had done the test, they were able to see the frontal lobe where the third eye is located activate almost 90%, and rest of the brain was all completely silent and had shut down, and they had seen intense activity in the frontal lobe where the third eye is. Now we'll be seeing the Shastra Pramana for one of the powers that manifest from the power from the third eye, which is the power of consciousness. So the Shastra Pramana is from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, Sutra 95, Dharana 120. Kvachid Vastuni Vinyasya Shanay Drishtim Nivartayet Tajnanam Chitta Sahitam Devi Shunyalayo Bhavet. The translation is, by having fixed one's mind on the particular object, the Vastu, one should slowly eliminate the thoughts, cognitions, and impressions about that object. Then one abides in Shunya, the state where there is ultimate oneness and all inclusive, infinite inclusivity. So, this is the beautiful translation of the verse from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. And now we are going to be having a live demonstration of this power. So now I'll be showing my Atmalinga. So we're going to be manifesting, I'm going to be manifesting this power with my Atmalinga. So the Atmalinga is basically a crystalline linga which is made from the spatika material or the quartz material, and then it is energized by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism itself and installs Paramashiva himself into this linga. And after that, he gives each one of us, after an initiation, the beautiful Atmalinga. So what I'll be doing is I'll be placing my hand on a flat surface, and by the power of oneness, by the power of Paramashiva, we will all have the beautiful darshan of the Atmalinga standing by its own. And I'll be showing you now in a close-up camera the Atmalinga and my palm, and also I'll be showing, we'll all be able to see that there is no strings tied, and as the Atmalinga is crystalline material, no magnets can be used, and there's no glue or any other way that the Atmalinga is being moved. So now we can all see my hand and the Atmalinga. So we can all see my hand and the Atmalinga, that there is no strings tied or string tied to the Atmalinga also. And now I'm going to be placing my hand on this cushion which is on a flat surface. As we can see, my hand is flat. And I'm going to be placing the Atmalinga on my hand. And once that is done, I will be chanting the Mahavakya intensely, and from that space, we will all be having the beautiful darshan of the Atmalinga standing. And I also request all the viewers watching us now to post all the desires that you wanted to manifest in your life, because when we manifest powers, we are directly invoking the presence of Paramashiva, and that is the best time that we can see how all the desires that we want start manifesting in our life. So now I'll be starting the manifestation, and all of us can also chant the Mahavakya along with me and create the space for Paramashiva to manifest. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. 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 Yes, now we have seen the beautiful manifestation of the Atmalinga. So we have seen the beautiful manifestation of the Atmalinga, and from this space, we'll all be able to create all the realities that we want, whether it is wealth, health, relationships, or ultimately Paramashivoham. And now is the best time for all of us to create the space to manifest Paramashivoham in our life. And when we create the intention and start seeing a reality happening, that is the only way that we can start really creating realities in our life. Because when we think, oh, I want money, I want wealth, Paramashiva, please give me wealth, when we start thinking like that, we only see that we are only asking Paramashiva. We are saying, I want wealth, and the cosmos also tells us, Tatastu, you keep wanting wealth. It is not a negative way of telling the cosmos is not being negative, but the cosmos keeps giving us just a blessing of Tatastu, Tatastu, Tatastu. That is, so be it, so be it, so be it. And when we keep asking Paramashiva that we want this, we want that, Paramashiva only keeps giving us the blessing that is going to happen. And the real secret is only when we see that reality manifested, we tell Paramashiva, thank you so much for manifesting the wealth already in my life, and really feel that devotion and attitude towards Paramashiva. When we do that is really when Paramashiva will also bless us, saying Tatastu, so be it, you have the wealth. And that is the real secret to manifesting wealth. And this is not a story that is being just told to you now, but it has happened in thousands of years after the blessing of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So take this time now to register yourself for Paramashivam. Create that intention first, because when you create the intention, you are seeing the reality manifest. And when you see the reality manifest, automatically you are going to be seeing the manifestation happening. So now let us take this beautiful opportunity that Paramashiva has given us to manifest this reality of Paramashivoham. So let's all head over to paramashivoham.org, and the QR code and the link is being projected below in the scroll, and there's a QR code you can scan. So now let's take this time to do that, and while we are doing that, we'll be back to you after a short break with beautiful sessions from the supreme point of Hinduism. Thank you, Nithyananda.
A more intelligently connected world leads to a brighter future. An enlightened humanity leads to a better world. During the Paramashivam program, we help people to discover their superhuman possibilities and help them to find and achieve the true purpose of their birth by giving them the techniques, practices, and methodologies from the Vedagamas, the original source scriptures of Hinduism. The supreme pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the ancient original Vedas and Agamas in all its glory in a user-friendly way for the modern mind. The supreme pontiff of Hinduism is transforming human beings into divine beings, reviving, initiating, and replicating the 463 powers from the Agamas revealed by Paramashivam. The supreme pontiff of Hinduism is not just giving solutions for every problem man faces, but is making them irrelevant to their lives by transforming human beings into divine beings.
Listen. Any argument presented by your mind, body, your present reality to establish you are not Paramashiva. You are not omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Anything presented to prove you are not Paramashiva is illegitimate. Decide this. This is super determinism. Understand? Anything you declare as illegitimate will lose power over you, will die in few days, few minutes, maybe in few weeks, whatever few days it takes. It will not have power over you. Understand? This is the method for sudden enlightenment. This is the method for sudden enlightenment. It happens by the Shaktipada. Here Paramashiva is sitting to tell you all, you are Paramashiva, you are me, with Shaktipada and Shaktinipada.
The Dvitiya Vijnasa Krama is an extensive and thorough yoga sequence to prepare your body to receive the experience being given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Through the yoga, which is aligned as per the source scriptures laid down by Paramashiva and the Agamas, you break all the impossibility in your body and in turn break the very cognition of impossibility. The program leads you to go beyond your human frame and limiting human ideas, which prevents you from living your highest possibility.
I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment.
Again I tell you, I am not here to prove I am God, I am here to prove you are God.
Don't wait to become divine. Register now at Paramashivam.
You will become Paramashiva. whatever I shared till now, condensing the whole thing and reviving it as experience, starting from completion, unclutching, power manifestation, the states of consciousness, and the planes, multiple planes, everything.
Nithyananda, we're back. Very beautifully, Paramashivam Maharaj had demonstrated the power of consciousness over matter for all of us. We're just connecting with Swamiji, with the supreme founder of Hinduism. Paramashivam Maharaj was able to become in tune, in oneness with the Atmalinga, will be flat, make it stand up vertically. These are one of the three powers which Paramashiva has laid down, has given in the Agamas. And these are the sciences which the supreme founder of Hinduism is reviving and is sharing with the whole world. Now that we have gone through and seen the science of power manifestation, we're going to be entering into the next segment of today's program, which is understanding the Kala Tattva. As we had mentioned earlier in today's segment, the supreme founder of Hinduism is going to be gracing all of us with the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Virabhadra. To get the full benefit and imbibe Virabhadra, the energy of Lord Virabhadra completely in us, we're going to be understanding about the Kala Tattva. Kala, the literal translation of the word Kala, means time in Sanskrit. Understanding about the Kala Tattva and how the Kala Tattva, just understanding and cognizing this truth about the Kala Tattva is enough to raise our consciousness to the higher frequencies and higher time zones. We are now going to be listening to a series of satsangs given by the Supreme Founder of Hinduism to understand exactly what is the Kala Tattva. Before we enter into the satsang, let us all come to the space of deep listening and restful awareness so that the words of the Supreme Founder of Hinduism can enter into our being directly. Let us take a few minutes and move from the space of hearing to the space of listening, where we imbibe and start cognizing all the words, all the thought currents, and all the ideas, all the cognitions the Supreme Founder of Hinduism will now be sharing with us. So you can all sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a single line and bring our awareness to the third eye center. And visualize Swamiji is sitting there in the third eye center as Paramashiva with the 25 heads and 50 hands. Take a few moments to come back to the space of restful awareness. And we can now enter into the satsang.
Directly. Kala, that's the fourth dimension. No difference between your Kala and Kala of the universe. Tell me, is there any difference? Your Kala and Kala of the universe. You know the gap between your logic and logic of the universe. You know the gap between your breath and breath of the universe. In depth, both come near. Means shadow falls on each other. Your shadow falls on universe and universe's shadow falls on you. But in time, there is no separation. I don't want to say there is oneness, but there is no separation. Your time and universe's time is one and the same. Listen. Listen carefully. Anything which makes you feel universe's time is different and your time is different is not you. If you feel your body is this many years old, it is separate from the universe, that is not you. Listen. I am telling you two things. One, don't think, oh, earlier itself I heard all these Vedantic lessons. That and all doesn't work for me. The moment it becomes time, I feel hungry and all my Vedanta goes in the air. Listen. Earlier failures does not confirm it is impossible for you at all. Earlier you might have failed due to various reasons. Now you will be successful because I am going to be the reason. Listen, I may be ferocious, but I am a go-getter. I'll make you get it. I am integrated to my job. I'll either convince your logic or confuse your logic. I'll make you to come to the and this cognition. Let it in this way. Listen. Your length, when its frequency increases, becomes breadth. Your breadth, when its frequencies, it becomes your depth. Your depth, when the frequency intensely increases, it becomes your time. In breadth, length is included. In depth, length and breadth is included. In time, length, breadth, depth is included. This fourth dimension is the space where your so-called normal human life faces a breakthrough. Listen carefully. Anybody who is introduced to the time dimension, Kala, manifests even one or two powers related to Kala. you are liberated from death. Listen carefully. You need to know the principal unit why you are manifesting powers or why you are not manifesting. If you know, that solves literally every possible problem. Time is a frequency, dimension of the universe, aspect of the universe, where you and universe are reverberating in the same frequency. Unit of time of the sun, moon, Kailasa and you is one and the same. Listen, yesterday I said, day for them, but unit is same. Only quantity difference. How many of you are understanding? It's only but not. So in Tattva, principal unit, listen carefully, your logic and logic of the Devatas are different. Your breath and Devata's breath, not that far away, little closer. Your depth and Devata's depth, little more closer. But in time, your unit of time and their unit of time is one and the same. There is only quantity difference. Tattva, fundamental principle unit is same. How many of you are getting it? Yes. For us 1 year is their 1 day, but our 1 year is 1 day for them. It means what? Kala, like movements of the nature, sun, moon, planets, the whole flow. The Kala is converted into our day-to-day time by our mind. Listen, movement of the sun, moon, nature. For example, before the invention of the clock, any time measurement system, whatever we know was happening is Kala. Once we learned the time measurement system and evolved certain logic for the flow of the time, like 24 hours, 1 hour is 60 minutes, 60 minutes is 60 seconds. When we started evolving certain mechanisms to grasp and measure the unit of time and try to come to terms with the large happening of Kala with our mediocre understanding of time. Listen. We feel lost, overwhelmed with the understanding of Kala. It's too big, too vast, too much. So we need to hold on to something like originally when you assume this body, you do not hold this body. You may own it, but you don't possess it. You just live in your superconscious space, radiate you, have this body also as part of you. But unfortunately, somehow you want to be more defined. In the name of getting grounded, you get caught. Same way, the space of timelessness, the Kala, is too much for you to exist. For various reasons, you start understanding Nera, means your time, as understand. I am not against the unit of time, second, minute, hour, day, week, month, year, decade. No, I am not against this unit and the measuring with unit. I am only against coming to conclusion, this understanding is a complete understanding about Kala. The nature's flow and our measurement system is being superimposed and impersonated in your day-to-day cognition, brings Shara destruction. Listen, let me repeat. You are supposed to reach the moon. You get into a horse carriage and that goes into the road which has many bumps, and that jumps in the bumps. You think you are flying and you are inside the carriage which is completely curtained. In this delusion, how many hours you may travel in the horse carriage? You may go up and down, but not to the moon. That is precisely happening in us. Listen. The innermost core space in you is constantly in the mood that you are beyond the Kala. In your day-to-day life, you are constantly cognizing Kala as your day-to-day time. I'll give you some more examples. In your inner space, if you decide purpose of your life is money, so your Kala gets converted into your time. Every day your time, particular hours are spent on making money. Listen. Same way, in your innermost space, if you decide the purpose of your life is health, then that gets converted into an action point. Everyday time, particular time you spend for yoga or making yourself healthy, whatever you believe as which brings you health. As experience, this experience is available in me. I'll have to just construct it as a thought current for you to understand in your logic. So, listen very carefully. Because end of the session I am going to declare or claim two big things. Too big claim. It will look too big or as impossible if you miss this thought current. Only if you come along with me, understand this thought current, you will understand, yes, that is possible. Mahadeva says, when that click, what is initiation? When I share, declare, claim something, if it hits your inner space and your core feels, yes, it is possible, then initiation has happened. So listen. Let me repeat again. Kala, the pure space of happening, when it gets converted into certain purpose in your life, it is reduced to Nera, your day to day, and divided by your unquestioned enemies occupying your time. Listen. This is one more word I am introducing. Many of you never questioned, do you need so much of food you are taking for your day-to-day healthy life? Do you need so much of sleep you are having for your day-to-day healthy life? Do you need many of these things which you call as your need really for the way you want to exist? That is what I call part of your life under the possession of your unquestioned enemies. You don't need to fight with them. Just even if you question them, they will disappear. You have so many enemies like them who will disappear just by your questioning or sitting in your system. Your laziness, your tiredness, your boredom, your cunningness, your decision to cheat your own life's purpose, your decision to go against your own very existence. Look in, understand. The unquestioned enemies, the enemies of you, whom you are not questioning, who are occupying your inner space, they divide and create gap between your Kala and Nera. Means your existence and your perception of your existence. Surely all the time you can measure, 100 year or 200 year put together is not your Kala or life. Listen. Then whole 100 years, if you are going to make $10 billion as per the calculation you have, somebody gives $10 billion, you are ready to die? No. That's too stupid. That's foolish. You all know the Kala as huge possibilities than the Nera with which you function. Nera means time. When the Kala gets mapped in your unconscious way of living, it is called time. The translation of the existential reality into your perception reality. Existential reality is Kala and your perceived reality is time. In this conversion, I should say it is more like a convulsion, not even conversion. In this convulsion, your unquestioned enemies, the enemies you entertain in your perception just because you never questioned them. You have 100-acre land, 200 tenants are sitting, Not that there is any agreement between you and your tenants. Because you never questioned them, they are living there. Even if you just go for a survey and ask them, hey, this is my land, they will just vacate and they may even run away, disappear. They will never even look at your face. How many of you feel in your life you have many of your perceived enemies who are there just because you did not question them, just because you never looked into them? All of us have. Lot. See, I am not even talking about the enemies with whom you are fighting. I am talking only about the enemies you are entertaining who are there in your life because you never questioned. Your purpose of life and your perception, you have not achieved your purpose already, and you need to work towards it. These three. Criminal cognitions. Listen to the word I am using. Criminal cognitions. Reduces, converts your kala to your time. Aligning fundamental understandings with the first principle of life. The first principle of life is oneness. Using the first principle, oneness, when the problems and questions are handled, conversion of your kala into time is drastically reduced. Understand? Depth of personality means your ability to handle all the fundamental questions of life with oneness in the source itself. In the source itself, if you handle many of your questions, your kala will not be reduced to time. Your inner space will reside more and more in kala. It will not go through the fears and greeds of time. All fear and all greed is your ability to understand whether you have less time or more time. That's all. All your fears, when you feel you don't have enough time, and all your greed is when you perceive you don't have enough time to enjoy, achieve what you want. This one understanding of time releases you from all fear and greed. Your remembrance of you powerfully associated to some subject or not associated to something. For example, you may remember you powerfully by feeling I have a young body. You may remember you powerlessly feeling, oh, I don't have a bank balance. If you associate yourself with some things, you remember you powerfully. If you associate yourself with some things, you remember you powerlessly. How many of you are understanding this? This binary is time. That's all. Catch. Listen. This binary is time. Kala. Kala, Sanskrit word, means jumping between associated powerfulness and associated powerlessness. By remembering your body, do you feel powerless? By remembering your mind, do you feel powerful? With what association you feel powerful? With what association you feel powerless? This binary. And please understand, the number of times feeling powerless when it is increases, it's called depression. Number of times you feel powerful, when that increases, it's called joy. This feeling powerful or powerless by association, this binary is time. That is Kala. By remembering your Guru, if you feel powerful, you are in oneness. என்ன வேணா இருக்கணும்டா, இருக்கட்டும்டா. கடவுளே என் பக்கம், அப்புறம் என்னடா? Whatever it may be, the ultimate decision maker knows my name. That's all. Leave it. That is actually the initiation. That powerfulness behaves like a shark and swallows all the other powerlessness. How many of you already started feeling powerful when you remember power manifestation? Hey, I think I can do it. I think I am making it. I am cracking the code. I am catching it. So when that starts happening, so in that binary, the power manifestation starts adding more powerful cognitions in you. But once the manifestation starts, that binary will change. This power manifestation will start making you more and more confident, and the moment you remember power manifestation, you will feel confident. You will feel, I can make it. It's powerfulness. Understand, anything which you feel makes you powerful, you start cherishing romance with it. The power manifestation starts adding more powerful cognitions in you. But once the manifestation starts, that binary will change. This power manifestation will start making you more and more confident, and the moment you remember power manifestation, you will feel confident. You will feel, I can make it. It's powerfulness. Understand, anything which you feel makes you powerful, you start cherishing romance with it. Cherished romance. Listen carefully. Cherished romance makes the frequency of you in tune with the time. That is why time is forgotten when you are in love. When you are in love, you do not know how time passes. How many of you are catching what I am saying? Being in cherished romance with the whole life is mastering time dimension. About this binary, associating with something feeling powerless or powerful. This binary is kala. Associating with something and feeling powerful is cherished romance. You start cherishing romance with it because it is making you powerful. It may be power manifestation or guru, God, with whatever. It can be even money, anything with which you feel it is making you powerful, you cherish romance with it. And cherished romance raises your frequency to the frequency of kala. That is why when you are in romance with something, time is forgotten. You don't know how the time is moving. If you are sitting with your close friend 3-4 hours, you don't even remember time is lost. Your dating period. With the whole life being in cherished romance is what is powerfulness of the Kala dimension. Just listen to this one fundamental truth. If you have tons of cotton and you need thread, if you have a tons of cotton source material, will you be worried about having less thread? No. You know you can make. Same way, if you have understanding about Kala, you know you can make any amount of time for your body and mind. I'll give you the secret given to Bhishma by Ganga. Bhishma is Ichha Mrityu. How many of you know that? He can choose death when he wants. I'll give you that understanding. Listen. This is the lesson Ganga gave for Bhishma. Exist with what you think as purpose. Listen carefully. Exist with what you think as your purpose. Work only for purifying your cognitions about purpose, not bother about whether you have time to fulfill your purpose or not. Listen carefully. I am not giving you a teaching, I am giving you an understanding. The number of times you remember you have become old makes you old. How many of you understand that? You remember you don't have time makes you don't have time, not to have time. How many of you are getting what I am saying? Now the next statement I am going to make is little mystical, but listen. If you die as a billionaire, when you assume the next body, you will be born in a billionaire family and whatever you left will be with you. It's a law of cosmos, understand? You don't get cheated. Listen carefully. Lives after lives after lives, you are a continuous rhythm. It's a little mystical. but I'll establish experientially for you in the next few power manifestation and powerful cognition manifestation. Sometimes in the mathematical class they tell, oh, let us assume x is equal to y till we come to the result. When we come to the result, you will understand x is equal to y. Like that, let's assume this proposal. Your life is a continuous rhythm. If the kala gets converted into time with too many cracks on your mirror, you will feel stuck in life. If the kala gets converted into your time, without moving out of the first principle of life, oneness, you will experience so much of freedom in your very day-to-day life. Listen, both of you, a liberated being and the bound being, may have the same clock, but you will not have same time. You will not have same kala. You may have same chronological time, but you will not have same psychological space kala. In this conversion of kala into time, your internal organs and intra-organs go through heavy damage. That damage is responsible for old age, ill health, ultimately death. Cleaning up that damage caused by time on your internal organs and intra-organs by the pure first principle thought current of oneness is called Kundalini awakening. Fundamentally, I put the thought current of oneness into your internal organs and intra-organs. That oneness burns all the pains, damages caused to your internal organs and intra-organs. Worst pain caused in your internal organ and intra.
Yes, beautifully. The Supreme Founder of Hinduism, Swamiji, over a series of satsangs, has explained the fundamental truth about what is Kala, as well as why Kala is important to us, why we should understand the concept of Kala, and how we can apply this truth, this concept of Kala, in our daily life. For almost 40 minutes, through various different ways and various programs, the compilation of the whole truth about Kala has been presented to all of us now. Now here, we have a small exercise which we can all do now to understand and solidify our understanding about the Kala Tattva. As Swamiji had said in the satsang, just the understanding about this Kala Tattva is enough. Swamiji also shared the truth and the science behind how we can extend our life and create time for ourselves. How a cotton mill creates a cotton thread out of cotton, the raw material. The same way, in our life, we can create time as we wish, as we want. Time starts manifesting in your space. As I said this time, and space, does not have a clear-cut border. For some people, in this time-space continuum, this time-space dimension, if it is 100 meter, consider a 100-meter long clock. For some people, 70 meters is time and 30 meters is space. Some people, 30 meters is time and 70 meters is space. For some people, even 2 meters, only 2 meters is time, the rest 98 meters is space. For some people, 98 meters is time and 2 meters is space. Listen, these are the direct words of the Supreme Founder of Hinduism. When the length dimension starts manifesting its possibilities in all its multiple levels, it gives birth to the breadth dimension. When the length dimension and breadth dimension both starts manifesting all its possibilities in multiple levels, it gives birth to the depth dimension. When the length dimension, depth dimension, breadth dimension, all three starts giving birth to all the infinite dimensions of them in multiple levels in all possibility, spontaneously and simultaneously, they give birth to a dimension called time. Let me repeat the internalization exercise once more. This requires a little bit of your listening in the space of deep restful awareness. This understanding of Kala Tattva is enough to change your whole perception about life, about your reality, and start manifesting life as the way you want it to happen. I'm going to repeat the internalization exercise once more. These are the direct words of the Supreme Founder of Hinduism. Time starts manifesting in your space. As I said, this time and space are a clear-cut border. For some people in the time-space continuum, time-space dimension, if you consider time-space as a 100-meter cloth, 100-meter long cloth, for some people, only 70% is time and 30% of the meter is space. For some people, 30 meters is time and 70 meters is space. For some people, only 2 meters is time and the rest 98 meters is space. For some people, 98 meters is time and 2 meters is space. Listen, when the length dimension starts manifesting its possibilities in all its multiple levels, it gives birth to the breadth dimension. When the length dimension and breadth dimension both starts manifesting all its possibilities in multiple levels, it gives birth to the breadth dimension. When the length dimension, depth dimension, and breadth dimension, all three starts giving birth to all the infinite dimensions of them in multiple levels in all possibilities, spontaneously and simultaneously, they give birth to a dimension called time. Understand, this is a very, very strong concept and strong truth which we need to internalize and take time to digest this truth. So now, take a few minutes and pen down your understandings of time of the Kala Tattva. Write down 3 things that you want to manifest in your life and how you are going to approach this manifestation with this new concept, which we all learned from Swamiji now, about the Kala Tattva. Contemplate and evaluate the ratio of time and space in each of these manifestations. Going over the exercise once more, time, space are not two separate things. In one long canvas, which is our reality, some is occupied by time and some is occupied by space. It is through this permutation combination, all the things are being manifested in our life. When we come to the understanding and allow our length dimension to manifest completely, give birth to the breadth dimension, allow the breadth dimension in us to manifest in all its possibilities, length and breadth together, it gives birth to the depth dimension. When all these dimensions start manifesting in their full possibility, in their full capacity, they give birth to time, to the Kala Tattva. So now, how are we going to use this Kala Tattva, this principle, this cognition, this teaching, this Tattva which Swamiji has given all of us now? How is this going to practically be applicable in our life? Let us start by penning down 3 things which we want to manifest. After penning them down, write how we are going to approach this manifestation and evaluate the ratio of time and space in each of these manifestations. Please take a few minutes, get your pen and pencil, sit and start the internalization exercise. Don't allow yourself to get distracted by your mind. Continue the process sincerely. After this process, we're going to be having the Darshan, the initiation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, manifesting in the Bhava Samadhi of Lord Virabhadra. When we do this process, when we do the internalization, we allow ourselves to open up to the energy, to the frequency of Lord Virabhadra. It is through these various processes and exercises and contemplation on the Kala Tattva, our brain starts vibrating in the same frequency, in the same time zone of Lord Virabhadra. So understand, this is a very important step to manifest and to get into the same time zone, same frequency wavelength of Lord Kala Bhairava, which will help you to experience the Bhava Samadhi in its full possibility manifestation. So please do the exercise sincerely and internalize the Kala Tattva, the truth about time. Write down the 3 things that you want to manifest in your life and how you are going to approach this manifestation, as well as evaluating how much of this manifestation will be in the time and how much of this manifestation will be in the space. Please continue to do the internalization exercise sincerely. As I said before, it is through these exercises which we do every day before the actual Bhava Samadhi Darshan, which helps us to raise our frequency, raise our wavelength to that of the Bhava Samadhi. Like today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is giving the darshan of Lord Virabhadra. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be vibrating in that frequency, that highest wavelength of Lord Virabhadra, and is going to be mirroring those neurons, mirroring that experience into all of us. So by doing these exercises, doing these internalization sessions and exercises, it will allow and help the raising of the frequency of ourselves so that we can have the full experience of the Bhava Samadhi Darshan. Please go ahead and continue the process, internalization exercise. Through this process, through this understanding and contemplation about the Kala Tattva, one of the biggest myths we have been taught in our life, we have been taught by society, starts dissolving, starts disintegrating. The cognition, the concept that we have only a certain amount of time to live. We have only a certain amount of time to fulfill our desires, to fulfill what we want to achieve in our life. Swamiji is breaking the fundamental cognition and concepts or social conditionings which we have been brought up with through this understanding of Kala Tattva. Throughout the satsang, Swamiji also expanded on how we can create time for ourselves as and when we need, for our body and our mind. The understanding and the truth, the power of the Kala Tattva goes much more further deeper. To understand these various dimensions of the Kala Tattva and the other 35 Tattvas being given in the Vedas and the Agamas, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be expanding on this and much more during the Paramashivam program, which is going to be happening from February 9th to February 28th. Through this process, through the program, not only is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism going to be explaining and giving in-depth detail and understandings about these various tattvas, vertical time zones, and multiple dimensions, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is also going to be giving you the experience of these in the program. If you follow the QR code, which is being projected below, and go to the link and register for the Paramashivam program now, today, not only will you be able to have access and to have the Darshan and listen to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, giving all these truths and giving this experience to you, but also the Virabhadra Darshan, Virabhadra Bhava Samadhi Darshan, which is going to be happening today, will also be available to you. Now that you are doing the process and you are understanding the Kala Tattva and opening yourself and raising your frequency to that time zone, to that wavelength, all that is left is having the darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as Lord Virabhadra. To have the darshan and awaken your consciousness, raise your frequency, your wavelength to that of the higher vertical time zones, all you need to do is scan the QR code or directly go to the website paramashivam.org, where you can register yourself for both the program and the Bhava Samadhi Darshan. Today, Swamiji has expanded on only one tattva, which is the Kala Tattva. To understand and learn more about the remaining 35 tattvas and other concepts, truths, and realities, such as the vertical time zones and the multiple dimensions, all this and more can be experienced in the Paramashivam program, Paramashivam program. So please do take this opportunity to go ahead and visit the website paramashivam.org, or you can scan the QR code being projected on the screen and register yourself for the Paramashivam program. After you have finished your internalization process, you can please take a few minutes and go ahead and register yourself for the program. Now with this, once you finish the internalization exercise, to continue to the next process, next step of this program, please go ahead and register yourself for the Paramashivam program, where in depth you can understand more about these various tattvas, various truths, and also have the Bhava Samadhi Darshan of Lord Buddha, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be gracing all of us today. And so now with this, we're going to be moving into the next segment of today's program. Please stay tuned.
Understand every way, condensing the whole thing and presenting it to you all as experientially in these 21 days through this Jnana Charya, Jnana Kriya, Jnana Yoga, Jnana is Paramashivam. Lifestyle for just Paramashivam. Rituals to be just Paramashivam. Yoga for just being Paramashivam. Jnana just Paramashivam. This Paramashivam is like literally the ultimate journey in a most safest way. Whatever I shared till now, condensing the whole thing and reviving it as experience, starting from completion, unclutching, power manifestation, the states of consciousness and the planes, multiple planes, everything.
Since the beginning of time and space, Bhagwan Paramashiva, the all-powerful, all-pervasive, all-knowing, ultimate superconscious existence, revealed in the Vedas and Agamas, the source scriptures of Hinduism, the truths about himself and the manifested universe and its multidimensional and simultaneously existing dimensions and worlds, also known as parallel universes or vertical time zones.
त्रुट्यादि प्रत्ययस्यार्थ कालो माया समुद्भवः. The Kala Tattva, which gives rise to the knowledge of various time zones and parallel universes such as Truti and others, is originated by Ananteshwara from the impure Maya.
Bhagwan Paramashiva mentions that as we experience the various higher